She hails from the Bay Area, but she is known globally. She's got followings all across the world. She is a very popular radio show host. I heard she just produced her 100th episode. That's pretty powerful. And she is the president of RHG Productions. So this is her new, she's getting ready to have her new TV program that's going to launch in January, her whole station. And I loved hearing about some of you that have already signed up for it. That's great. But without any further ado, I'm going to bring back to the stage the wonderful, the magnificent Rebecca Hall Gruyter as she teaches us all how to step into our magic. Rebecca.
Thank you, sir. You guys enjoy your break? Yes. Good. Well, I actually felt led to change the title a little bit. So we're still going to step into our magic, but guess what we're going to do with it? Can you guess? Shine. So please notice I added a little bit of shine. So exactly, because we have the power to bring our magic. So we're going to talk about how do we do that. And as I was preparing, I looked up the definition of magic. Have any of you ever done that? I was curious. So here's what I found. Because I had my own theories and beliefs about it, but I thought, maybe I should check, not just decide. So here as a noun, magic is the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. You know what those are? Our gifts, our talents, our abilities. We bring the magic. Adjective, wonderful, exciting, very effective in producing results. It's magical. Verb, move, charge, or create, as if by magic. And what really became clear to me as I was looking into this is that we get to be that force. We get to bring that magic. And when we learn how to play to our strengths, that's our superpower. That's our magic. We can change the course. We are absolutely needed in this world. You're not here by accident. You are needed for such a time as this. Not someday, not when you're feeling ready, not when you get another certification, when you learn one more thing. If you feel that pull, you're needed now, just as you are. Perfect in your imperfections. The wonderful mix of who you are is magical. And the way we can bring our magic is be willing to share the gift of who each of us is with the world. And that's a choice. And it's heart by heart, life by life. And the other part of this is we need to be visible. I talked about that a little bit in the morning, but I want to share what I've learned about visibility. This has been a year that I've done a lot of in-depth sitting and meditating and praying about visibility. I'm like, why is this so on my heart? What is this about? Is it visibility just to wear sparkly things, which I'm all for? Don't get me wrong. Like that would be enough for me. But really, why? What is the burning of my heart, the passion in this? And here's what I discovered. People in the world are hurting. They're in pain. When we are hurting and we're in pain and we're struggling, this big, thick pea soup of fog comes down. We can't see hands outstretched. When we're in the middle of that, we're just trying to breathe. Okay, I can take another breath. Okay, I can take one more. We don't have time to figure out, what do I need? Is this safe? Can I take a step? So we need people willing to shine so brightly, they become a beacon of hope, a beacon of light. They're showing, here is the path. Avoid those rocks. Here's how you go. Here's where it's safe. And here's my hand. And we can only do that when we're willing to shine, to be that light. That's what I've discovered about visibility. It is really to help. It's to be seen so we can serve. Visibility isn't about me. It's about the person who needs to see the light, to see the hope, to know it's safe, to be able to see clearly enough they can avoid the rocks in the storm. So I really want to encourage you to explore visibility. And are you shining brightly enough people can see you in the storm? Not just in the highs, but when they're in that desperate place and they don't know where to turn. Are you willing to be that light? That's, to me, what visibility is about and why I care so much about it. Why I'm in radio and television, and I'm launching a television network. Why I do anthologies and books. Because the other thing I've learned, it's not just my voice and message that is needed. It's all of yours. You are the biggest gift I can bring to the world. You are the magic in my magic box that I can bring to the world. And that's what all these different things that I do in media in different ways is really about. It's helping those that need the lights. We need to be light beings. We need to be willing to step into that space. And have any of you seen a beautiful starry night? Have any of you seen that? Right? You find somewhere dark and you just see, it's almost like you can touch them. All these stars in the sky. That's what we get to be. Sometimes we have this fear, if I shine brightly, someone else doesn't get to. And that's just not the truth. We each get to shine our unique bright light. And the more each of us shine, guess what? We're showing someone else, here's how. And we get to spread, like the fire that you shared about earlier, we get to spread that around the world. We can light up this planet by being willing to shine. So I'm going to challenge you today, as we spend some time together, to find not just your magic, but how can you set yourself up to shine as well? Just a little bit more brightly, just a couple more watts. How can you be seen on a little bit higher level so you can serve more people? And the only way I know how to do that is to bring magic to yourself first. You have to fill yourself to overflowing. You have to find those ways that you can shine. Maybe it's ta-da in the morning, starting every day that way. What is it that brings a spark to you? Is it dancing? Is it movement? I got a dancer, yeah. What is it that's going to bring that joy to you? That's going to feed your light? So it's not depleted as you're sharing, but it's sustainable. Look for ways to do that today. Look for how you can bring magic into your life, then into your business, and to the world. And I want to share a little bit of my journey, because to me it's ironic in a lot of ways that I care so much about visibility, that I'm in television, that I'm in radio, that I'm doing all of these things, because they were absolutely on my list of I'm never going to ever do these things. Never. I am not qualified. I am not that person. So I'd like to share that journey with you a little bit. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go back in time to a tender age, 5 years old, I discover my parents are getting a divorce. I explain to my younger brother what that means, and that Daddy won't be coming home. And I'll protect you on our journey. The way I said it at that time is, I got you. I'll take care of you. I love you. We were hiding under a table when I shared that with him. And About 5.5 to 13 years old, 12.5, almost 13, I ended up in an environment of abuse. I experienced things a little girl should never experience for many, many years. And when I cried out for help, it was not believed. I was always put back, and the environment would become more severe. So I learned some things during that time of darkness. I learned I don't matter. I'm not okay. There is something desperately wrong with me that's causing this because it must be my fault. And I learned it was absolutely, under no circumstances, safe to be seen or to be heard. I learned to smile really big and act like everything was okay when it desperately was not. So I was that little girl. You could tell something wasn't quite right. She was wounded, big bright smile, and really sad eyes. Eventually, the truth came out, and I was rescued by my dad, who you met. And I was put into a home with him and my stepmom, who became the mom of my heart, where I got to go on a healing journey. And I discovered new truths. I discovered that those were actually lies, that it wasn't my fault, that I do matter, that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made on purpose and for a purpose, and that it is safe to be seen and heard. But what I also discovered on that journey is we know a lot of things intellectually. It's very different to know it on a cellular level. So even though I knew in my mind I was safe, my body remembered what went on before. So anytime I would try to stand up and say my name and anything after that, my voice would shut down, my ears would ring, I would turn purple, my throat would be cut off, I'd start shaking, I'd go right to purple, not red, purple. I'd lose all my thoughts and have to just sit down and stop and recover. Sometimes even leave the space to find my center again. So I received the calling as I was on that healing journey. Rebecca, it's time to share your story. Went to a Women's of Faith conference. Have any of you been to a conference with thousands and thousands and thousands of women? Yeah, that was my first time. And have any of you experienced that conference afterglow? You're in that bubble world for a little while? That was me. So I went to this conference and I saw all these women, little stage, all of these women, thousands and thousands. And I saw amazing woman after amazing woman that's just real, sharing their story. And hearts were healing. And I saw transformation. I thought, oh, maybe my story could be used for good. Maybe I could stop the generational pattern and shift that to generations of good. Maybe I could do that. That seed got planted. I rushed home. Mom, I know what I don't want to be when I grow up. What's that, honey? She's experienced the conference afterglow. A little more experienced than I in that. I said, I want to be a motivational speaker and change the world with my story. I want it to make a positive difference. She says, honey, that's wonderful. Put the arm around me. But you do realize that means you actually have to get up on stage and speak. Oh, I hadn't connected those dots. I just wanted the transformation part to be used in that way. I didn't want that scary, vulnerable, coming to the edge of myself part. So I looked at life with my human eyes and said I could never do that. So I said no. And I went a different path. But when you're given a calling and you have a dream, they do not go away. Sometimes they need to get a little bit stronger. We need to grow a little bit more to be courageous enough to lean in and say yes. And that was what happened to me. So fast forward many years, and I get the calling again. Newly married, successful, thriving financial practice. Again, through some hard times, felt like I had arrived. We were there. Carl was actually my managing principal at that time, so you watched all of this happen. And I was given the call, Rebecca, you need to share your story. I thought, well, that's not what I do. I'm a financial advisor. I'm speaking. I'm doing that speaking thing. Why aren't hearts changing? Why aren't hearts being transformed? I'm doing my part. Again, the voice came. You need to share your heart. That means in order to share our hearts, we have to actually take our mask and our protective gear off. Otherwise, they can't feel our heart or hear our heart. And we have to lead that. We can't expect them to do it first. So as I'm exploring this, I'm wrestling because secretly that dream came back. Just maybe I could do that. Just maybe I could actually use my story for good. So part of me desperately wanted to, and the other part of me was desperately afraid. I don't know if I can. I don't know how. 9 months I wrestled. Finally, knees knocking, I said, okay, I will do this terribly hard, scary, horrible thing I don't think I should have to do because it's not what financial advisors do. If I never speak to more than 50 people at a time, no books, no radio, no television, nothing with a camera. I'll use a microphone because my voice isn't super loud. And you just bring the people that I'm supposed to talk to, tell me what to say, and let's go change the world. And please understand, no one was asking me to share my story, much less in any of those medias. They were just the worst, scariest, most horrible things I could think of where I wouldn't have control that I wanted to have on my not list. Silence, stillness, and then I felt like God came back and said, Rebecca, I think you misunderstood the question. It's yes or no, period. There's no safety net. And I also knew if I said yes to this, it was like an ultimate yes. There wasn't a pullback. I was no longer in control. So I was terrified. But what pulled me through was remembering my why. Because what helped me on my healing journey every step of the way was I made deals with God. I said, okay, God, I will do this mean, hard, horrible thing I really don't think I should have to do because, by the way, I have suffered enough. I shouldn't have to do this next thing. But I'm willing if it can make a difference for one. If it can make the path of another just a little bit easier, a little bit lighter, I will do this next thing. I'm willing to be scared. I'm willing to be stretched. I'm willing to be terrified if it makes a difference for another, if it can make that path a little bit easier. And to this day, that is still the thing that pulls me forward. What is your why? What is it that when things get scary, because they do, it's not if, it's when. Are you willing to stretch through? Are you willing to be courageous in that, to find your courage? What helps me find mine is remembering my why. I encourage you to find your why. That's why we keep putting you in the center in everything that we do. Because you and your why is what will pull you forward. The first time I told my story, it was on a stage in front of 300, live streamed, 7 minutes. Terrified, knees knocking. Guess what? That didn't go away. I got to do it anyway. Knees knocking, out of my body. Don't even quite know what I said. but I know what I felt. And I know I was willing to be vulnerable, to share. I was willing to be imperfect and to share. And you know what happened? I got a standing ovation I never saw. It's when I got off the stage and there were a lineup of men and women who thanked me for sharing that they were the one that needed what I shared. And there were a lot of ones. That gave me the courage and encouragement to keep going, to keep sharing. And it gave me freedom because I didn't have to be perfect. I could just be me and share my heart. And that's magical when we do that. So I'm going to encourage you to be willing to share your heart, to share who you are, even if you're out of your body for a moment, even if you're shaking. And you know what the consistent thing is they told me? Rebecca, I could tell you were terrified. So apparently they could tell. But you cared enough anyway. I needed that. That you were willing to be terrified for me because I needed what you shared. I heard that again and again and again. So I just want to encourage those of you who are called to shine, to share a little bit more. You don't have to be perfect, I promise. You just need to be willing. That's the biggest piece of wisdom I can share with you. It's about being willing to step forward, being willing to shine, being willing to be seen just a little bit more, to be willing to be that beacon of light. And then I wanted to give you a snapshot of a journey I've been on just the last month and a half. I went on a road tour, and I've been resistant to traveling, which I've told God about. And again, God said, you said yes. Underline period. Fine. I had such a richness in this experience of being on the road. So it started with a trip with my husband. We went and spent some special time together in Vegas. I can't say we won millions, but we tried. Had a good time. And then I came back and I was back for a day, and then I was in all these different places. I went to Southern California. I got to speak on different panels. I got to shine in different ways. I traveled to Nevada City, and I got to speak at an event there about visibility. I traveled to Texas and got to speak as a keynote and received an award there, and talking to that community and reaching out and encouraging people to step forward and be seen. I traveled back locally, and I got to be a keynote speaker at, where's CJ? Oh, okay, well, CJ, I got to speak on her stage and share with her community. And then I was always home a day or two, and then I was back on the road again. And then I was in Arizona at the headquarters of Voice America. While I'm on all of these trips, I was writing 3 chapters because we have those 6 books coming out. And so each step of the journey, I was seeking, what am I supposed to write in this chapter, in this book? So every one of them reflects a different part of that journey. And some of what I learned on the journey, just some core principles that God's really placed on my heart, and again, any wisdom that I can pass on, I want to, because I want you to be the beacon, the light that you are called to be. I want you to bring your magic to the world. So the be willing was a key piece. And it's okay to be afraid. Fear is an emotion. It's not a reason to not do something. And it doesn't seem to go away until you're actually doing it. And you survive and you get a little more courageous. So that's a journey. The second message I was given along is be ready in all seasons. Be ready. No more getting ready to get ready. No more practicing, rehearsing, trying to get it a certain way. You need to be ready wherever you go. You don't know when you're going to be handed a microphone. You don't know when you're going to have 30 seconds to share. You don't know when you're going to have an opportunity to hug someone or a driver on the way. You need to be ready in all seasons to share where you're called to share, period. So that was a journey. Then I got another message when I was in Arizona. I was getting ready to write, this was actually your book, Jim. I was getting to write that chapter. I'm like, okay, he told me yes to be in this book. I don't know what I'm supposed to write. God said, put the stuff away and you need to listen. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a listening moment. And it was, you are no longer a speaker, Rebecca. It sounded a lot like when I was no longer a financial advisor conversation. It's like, okay. But you know, God, that's kind of what I do. No, it's not. You're an ambassador and a leader who speaks. And I want to just plant that seed. Are we getting a little confused in our identity? Are we called to be ambassadors, to be messengers, to lead something forward? And one of the ways we do that is speaking. One of the ways we do that could be writing. One of the ways we do that is how we show up in a room. Are we bringing our magic everywhere we go, however it is that we're called to go? Because I don't believe that message was just for me. I believe we are all on this journey. And the being being ready to say yes. So being ready in all seasons. There were so many opportunities on this journey that I didn't know were coming. I didn't know I would be on a success panel and some other things that I had opportunities to be on in Southern California. But I was ready and I said yes. When I went to the Arizona headquarters of Voice America, which Carl has been to as well, I didn't know they wanted to film me too. So glad I wore the makeup and the clothes, and I came ready to say yes. Everything was first take. There are no do-overs, and it all serves. We ended up filming multiple times every day, and they ended up recording me for the CEO's radio show. And then they said on top of that, hey, Rebecca, you want to produce a show while you're here? No time to get ready. And what did I say? Yes. Mm-hmm. And I said, but this is how I would like to do it. I'd like to actually interview you, CEO of Voice America. I would like to interview you, head of television. I would like to interview you, my senior executive producer that opened the doors where all of this began. Because you're the heartbeat of Voice America and people don't know you. Will you entrust me to interview you? And guess what they said? Yes. And you can find that show on my TV channel. The only thing, so if you want just something that's kind of fun to watch in the show, when I move around a lot, and so the hair can brush the microphone on the first couple of segments, so you can notice that. So if you're ever doing that and you have longer hair and you move, just a note, learning process there. But the other thing is, all those guys are really tall, 6 foot plus, and I'm not even in my heels. And so we couldn't get a camera angle that really made sense, flattering in both places where we could really hold the energy we wanted to. So the solution is we had to find 2 chairs, and theirs was lowered as low it would go. Mine is as high as it can go. So if you look, I was actually a little bit taller sitting than some of them. That was a new experience for me. I felt very empowered. I like that. But if you look at the handles of the chairs, you can see how different we are in height. So just kind of a fun behind the scenes thing. And those shows ended up being really fun, really heart-centered, and connecting. And one of the gentlemen, it was his birthday. And so I shared that with the world. They just let me go. Because I let them know if they didn't like the segments, they didn't have to use them. But not only did I get a show released on my channel, it was also released on each of their shows and each of their channels, and it was featured on all of Voice America TV. So being ready is also being willing to ask for what you want and knowing what that is. And it's amazing what will come from that. So being willing, ask. And I said yes, and then I took a moment to kind of think about what did I want? Because I knew I wanted to do the show. Same thing with a book. When I was approached for Come Out of Hiding and Shine by the publisher, and they said, Rebecca, we want to publish your book. I said, that's amazing. Yes, I'd be so honored. Wonderful. But you know what I would really like? Is I'd like to actually bring many voices forward, not just mine, with this book. I'll eventually have my book. But right now, I want to bring as many voices forward as I can. I will share my story, but my story is not the only one that is needed. And guess what? They said, yes. So be willing to discover what it is that you want. Be willing to ask, to lean in, to say yes, and then figure out how. I had never compiled a book before. I've been part of them. But I was willing to learn, I was willing to lead, and I was willing to do it. Because it meant I could bring many voices forward, and each of them could reach their one plus in doing that. So where is your reach? And that's sharing your magic. Where are you being called to shine a little bit more? To share your magic just a little bit more. I want just to sink in and see, explore. So I want to explore what goes in the center. What is the thing that will pull you forward when fear, not if, when fear arises? Actions, that's what we get through, but there's a why. Why are we doing what we do? What are we trying to achieve? It's that why. Who are you trying to reach? That one. Why are you trying to reach that one? Heart to heart. Your why. Because what we're growing right now is a magical garden of flowers. Each of us are a flower in the center. So let's build our magical flower, how we're being light and magic in the world. And then I shared with you that we are beautifully and wonderfully made. Each and every one of you are. And I want to add magically made. There's a mystery and magic to how each of us are made, each of our journeys. So you're magically made. And that being the case, how are you going to sustain your magic? How are you going to keep your magic coming and building? How are you going to share your gifts, your talents, your abilities with the world? Life by life, heart by heart. How are you going to do that? How are you going to bring your gifts forward? We can't keep waiting to be discovered. We have to be willing to share. This is who I am. And I find this fascinating in the media world. I find so many people are wanting to step into television or radio, and I show, here's how. Here are your options. Here's how you can do that. And they go, well, I'm still waiting. Here's how it works. Well, I'm just waiting to be discovered and for it to be handed to me. That's not how it works. We have to be willing to share. There are steps. We can be an amazing speaker, but if nobody knows we're a speaker that speaks, we're not going to get on stages. So we have to lead that, take the steps to get there. It doesn't just magically come to us. We bring the magic to us. We lead the magic forward. It comes from us and willingness to share our gifts and our talents. And then action, as you were saying. And I'm calling this step into forward. Into your magic. Own it. Stand in it. Enjoy it. Wear all the sparkle you can. Bring the high heels. Have fun, even the guys. We can do all. Bring your magic, your brand forward with joy Enjoy being who you are. You're magical. You're wonderful. You're needed. No one's exactly like you. So step into it. Enjoy it. Be willing to bring it forward. And then when we do that, that leads to sharing. So we've got to own it, and then we can share it. It's not your gifts, your talents, how you're made, isn't just for you. It's for those around you. It's for those in the world. I believe you are made exactly as you are for such a time as this. Not someday, not 3 years from now. You're needed right now, this way. Perfect in our imperfections. In fact, I had a presentation that I did, and I was wearing this dress. That's so interesting as I'm thinking about it. I had different heels, though. They were black and shiny. Giving a presentation, a room of 100 people, like my people. We're in sync, one of those magical moments where everything's just, and then at the end, we're coming to the crescendo, and you can feel it, and we raise our flowers together, and I fell off the stage into the sound equipment. Yes. And you're in that little bit of shock. And I look out, and there are a bunch of speakers and healers in the room, and they all have this horrified look. And even people in the hall, because it was standing in room only. We had more people than expected. So I get up and I go, "What am I? So beautiful." I mean, they didn't say it with enthusiasm. But I carried on. That adrenaline's amazing. We tried to regroup. They stopped for a moment, sent me healing energy. We bonded on a whole new level. Then we were able to bring it to the end, but it was not that same magical crescendo that had been built. Thus, now I think they have a little bit bigger stage. It was small. But you know how that was used? I connected powerfully with almost every person. I got personal calls. "Are you okay? I'm sending you healing energy. Loved what you share." Like, we got to bond and connect. I became real and approachable, heart connection. I didn't have to be perfect. You can fall off a stage. I don't recommend it. It is painful. There were bruises. But it can still be heard. So step forward, just watch the stage length when you do it. Be willing to share. That's one of the best gifts you can do, you can bring to the world. That's how you bring your magic forward. And then, can you guess the last word? It's really ta-da and shine. That's why I put on my shiny high heels, so the ruby slippers, us having the power all the time, grew into heels. Because we get to choose. So not just willing to share, but are you willing to shine? Are you willing to be that beacon for those that need you in the world? And that is a choice we each get to make. So with that, I'm going to give you a moment to close your eyes. I want you to sit and think for a moment. Big breath. And I'm going to ask you a question. And this is just within yourself. Are you willing to be seen, to share your magic, and to shine? Are you willing to serve on that level, to shine your magic for those who need it, to be able to see it? And just see what the answer is. Yes or no, it's not how. How is not the question. It's, are you willing? Yes or no, period. And just know that answer within yourself. And those of you who want to dial this up a little bit, again, eyes closed. I want to create a really safe space for everybody. But you want me to know that you're saying yes. You want me to support you in your yes. That I'm willing to hold you. I'm celebrating you today. I'm going to be sending you positive energy to support you in bringing your magic forward. If you want that kind of support in this community, with us today, I'm going to invite you to stand in your yes. Stand. Let me see and celebrate you, that you are willing to bring your magic to be seen on that level. Again, eyes closed as much as we can to protect everyone. I want you to know I see you. I'm celebrating your yes, your willingness, as we have lit that fire to bring your magic to the world. What a powerful gift. Let's breathe that in. Beautiful. And then, for those of you who want to have the community celebrate and support you, I'm going to give you a moment. I'm going to count to 3. If you want to be seen and celebrated by all of us here, I invite you to stay standing. Really practice being visible, practice being seen, practice shining, practice sharing your magic. If you want that today, I want to give you that gift. Then stay standing. Those of you who this is the stretch, this was your edge, this is enough visibility, know that I see you. You can sit down. You are absolutely safe. Those of you who are ready to stand and be seen by all of us and celebrated, I will give us a moment to be seen. So 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, and 3. Stay standing, open your eyes, and let's celebrate the magic in the room. Wonderful. And then if I can have you take a seat. So this is an assignment, an extra credit bonus opportunity for those who are willing to lean and accept it. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is really start putting down how you're going to bring your magic. How are you going to bring magic into your life and bring it forward? I want you to almost write a contract with yourself of how you're doing this. Because remember, our 24 hours has started ticking. How are we going to be spending them? How are you going to be carrying this forward? How are you going to be bringing? So not just writing the words I wrote, but your words, your answers to these questions. How are you going to bring this into the world so that you can bring yourself the magic, a magical feeling, and then you can share your magic with the world? So I encourage you to be on that mission today. Extra credit bonus opportunity. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, so that you can have that amazing impact on the world that desperately needs you and your light and your gifts. I encourage you to lean in. And then I want to bring us to a close. If I can have each of you pick up your flower pin. Because remember, we're making a magical garden. Each flower with its own fragrance, handmade with love and blessings by Rebecca. Praying and reflecting over who's going to receive this pin as I lovingly make each one. So again, it's on purpose, the flower that called to you, that you have in your hand. Just like you are called forth and are a magical gift. So what I want to ask you is, are you willing to lift yourself up? Your flower pin, you can stand if you're led. I saw some wanting to stand, whatever serves you. And look around the room at this magical, vibrant garden we're making of different colors, different fragrances, different stories and journeys woven together today. And wherever you go, whatever you do, may you always, always bloom where you're planted and shine. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, I'm Brandy Jones, and I have the honor and the pleasure of being on Rebecca Hall Gruyter's leadership team. I met Rebecca some years ago, and she told her story in a way that was so heartfelt, and it affected my heart. And it also brought out my story. Before then, I did not realize I even had a story. But Rebecca has trained me, has guided me to where I am now. I have a radio show. I have a big business, a business that really functions and feeds my soul and my heart. It is such a pleasure to be in her footsteps, to be walking alongside of her as she guides me through this adventure and this journey. And I am having a marvelous time. So my hat goes off to Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathleen Zemansky. I'm a business feng shui master, astrologer, and timing expert. I met Rebecca Hall Gruyter about a year and a half ago, and from that moment forward, my life has changed completely. Because of her, I have my own radio show, which is Illuminating Feng Shui on the Voice America Business Channel. I am now a best-selling author in her most upcoming book, come out from hiding to shine. So I have a chapter in the anthology, so I'm now a best-selling author due to her. But one of the things that I really appreciate about Rebecca is her sincerity, her authenticity. I got also into her money summit that was a class that really peeled back some of the vulnerability that I had to expose to really have some breakthroughs. I highly recommend all of her classes, her workshops. She's a really wonderful person to work with. Whether you come to one of her events or dive deeper into one of her classes, Rebecca Hall Gruyter is the woman for you.
Hi, so I've had a really great day here. This is my first time attending one of Rebecca's events, and I've gotten to know her being a co-author in her first anthology, Come Out of Hiding and Shine. And what drew me to Rebecca is getting to know more about her passion and her why, and the kinds of people that she pulls into her community. So it's been a really great honor for me to share my message and get to support a bigger purpose, and to know that the people I'm connecting with want to make a bigger difference in the world. They want to connect with all of who they are, and that this space, this community that Rebecca creates, it allows people to really feel safe and to shine for who they are, and to feel really empowered that the more they can be themselves, the more they can change the world.
Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message, help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message.